Welcome to the Homegrown Heart Podcast every Friday morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time with your host, Dr. Amanda Ryan, DO, MBA, interventional cardiologist, and an expert in her field. This week's topic, rural healthcare and work-life balance. Please help me welcome your host, Dr. Amanda Ryan.
Morning, New Mexico. Carlsbad. This is my homegrown heart, and I've missed you guys. I was on spring break with my family and my husband, my friends, and that was wonderful. Danny and I were just talking about New Mexico in general and some podcast stuff he's doing on New Mexico World, I believe it's called. Thank you, Danny Fletcher, for being an amazing producer, really radio personality, podcast personality, informed citizen, truly. Danny and Betty both really are informed about what's going on. That's Homes by Marie. Shout out to her and all the great work that she does up in northern and now southeastern New Mexico as well. So never forget the people on your team that help make your life livable every day. And that's never more apparent than in my life this week. First of all, shout out to my team who really came through last week to have created a practice in a surgical center, a large cardiovascular practice, and a foundation, again, Partners in Heart Health, where I truly can take 10 days off and spend it with my family and my friends, experiencing life and just relaxing for a few days, and knowing that they're taking good care of the patients and the practice in general is something that's really hard for me to even explain how calm that feels. Now, I'm in touch with them and I talk to them and I still answer questions, and people, some people are like, oh no, you need a total break. I love what I do. It's not a job, it's not a career, it's a calling, and it's a balance. You can't pour from an empty cup, and it is important to take breaks and fill your cup. But it's also important for me to stay connected to my patients, especially those that are in dire need. Often I know your story. I know the 2 heart procedures that you've had done. I know what you're recovering from. I know the medications that we just had you on. So whether I'm on vacation or not, whether I'm located, technology is advanced to a point where we can still stay pretty connected. And again, it's important to disconnect too, and I'm a believer in that. But I'm not the person that can disconnect, quote unquote, for 10 days and totally not answer my phone and not be involved in my patient's care. That's just not who I am or where I'm at in life right now. Someday it'll be time to disconnect, and we'll do some permanent disconnecting at that point. And we'll move on to other things, but we're a long way from that. We're here trying to make a difference in your heart health every day, and we'll continue to do that, whether we're in Florida, whether we're in LA, which shout out to Los Angeles. I've never been to Los Angeles. I've been to California a lot of times, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, Napa Valley, different places, but I'd never actually been to LA. So the U.S. men's national soccer team, which anyone who knows that I'm a little bit of a soccer fanatic, as is my husband. If you follow my Facebook, you saw my husband's angry look. We were not winning the U.S. soccer team did not play very well. The stadium though, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, in Inglewood, is a sight to behold. I have a beautiful facility, again, that we practice here in Carlsbad, and it's amazing. We just had some doctors that flew in from Phoenix to do a procedure on a patient here in town that ended up coming by after the patient told them what a lovely facility we had. They came by, they could not believe we had a facility like that in Carlsbad. And I've had a lot of patients this week just in complete awe of what we really are doing. And again, a fancy, shiny building, as I've said, as we talk about all the options for what we're really gonna do for Eddy County's healthcare, I wanna continue to reinforce that shiny buildings are wonderful and new buildings are great, but that is one small part of what we really need to do to change the healthcare of Eddy County. We have to be able to recruit nurses, physicians, and allied health professionals, lots of different types, and healthcare administrative people. This is a difficult area to recruit to. We've got to work with our college, really partner with them for trying to get as many people who are interested in healthcare from our area. We need to try to get them educated as far as we can, locally, semi-locally. We need to work together. We need to try to peel back ulterior motives that people might have. I'm sorry, that's reality. We need to look at what does the healthcare, again, answer that survey if you haven't. The community health survey that we talked about, or the community, it's not just health, it's the overall, what's the name of that survey, Danny? We'll put it up.
It's a comprehensive.
Yes, it's part of our comprehensive plan for the city that I'm on that committee. We'll put that again up. If you haven't taken the survey, please do. Again, so far, the three main issues have been housing, healthcare, and infrastructure. Yeah, really. Affordable housing and healthcare have been two overwhelming things, but education is also a major concern as we try to move forward with Carlsbad to get it to where we really want it to be. What does Carlsbad look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? I hear some lamenting it's not like it used to be. Titusville, Florida, which is, where my husband's hometown and where I've called home for a long time as well. Similar, they went through a lot of, we used to have 10,000 people, 5,000, 10,000, and now we're at 50,000, 60,000, and it changes the dynamics. It does. Change can be hard, but change can also be exciting. It can be inviting and invigorating to a community. Like, we're growing and we have the opportunity, if we work together and plan this appropriately. We've got some great city administrators working with them on the development and the ideas of, how are we really going? Mayor Lopez is very motivated to help get this community where it needs to go. Working with Wendy Austin and Jeff Patterson, again, some of our city administrators, we have a great group right now. Very motivated to work with the citizens of Carlsbad, which is a lot of you watching this podcast, so we can really help move things in a positive direction. It takes a lot of effort to move the needle. I'm specifically invested in the healthcare, not just cardiovascular, that was step one. But I am invested in improving and altering the healthcare in Eddy County and all rural America. I have some ideas, but not all the answers. We continue to participate in the National Rural Healthcare Association, all of these kind of large national, regional, local, the Eddy County Health Council. Again, we're participating in that, and I encourage anybody in the healthcare realm to participate. We've got to come together to discuss what the issues are so that then we can really figure out how do we approach these best. Oh, by the way, another shout out I got to give this week is to Dancing with the Stars for the United Way. We continue to raise money for that project, which is going great. We are raising money and it's just going amazing. The United Way is meeting its capital campaign. It does so much great stuff in our area and nationwide. And I want everybody to really support Dancing with the Stars, which is going to be April 18th at our convention center. So I'll repost that again online as well. Danny will show it on the podcast for next week. So buy your tickets, come and support us. Become a sponsor, get involved. It's such really a great community to live and participate in. I just want to thank everybody here who's really welcomed me with open arms for the last 10 years that I've been here. And in 10 years, we've made a lot of progress in healthcare and in the cardiovascular world, especially in the last few years, we've really ramped up the progress. We have a great cath lab team at our local hospital. We're really making a difference every day in patients' lives that are in critical cardiac situations. So shout out to the cath lab team as well. So how are we going to move forward again? What are we going to do? Again, kind of slammed me in the face this week when I got back from that 10 days of vacation. Very heavy patient load. I think we've done about 20 cases, almost everybody getting stents put in their heart, getting leg blockages. We have special equipment where we can kind of roto-rooter through the plaque in people's legs. We have stents that we're putting in the veins that are in people's pelvis. Oftentimes the artery lays on top of the vein in our pelvis, particularly on our left leg. It can compress that vein so much that the blood pools and we end up having blood clots. So again, if you're somebody or you know anyone that has had a blood clot, particularly in that left leg, that wasn't necessarily after a surgery or a long travel, you got to be suspicious of, do you have some kind of issue with the veins in your pelvis? So that can be a really important thing to check out as well. So we've just been full of doing those kind of things this week, and it's been a little crazy. We've had a few cases that were very difficult and challenging. And we've had to use our resources in Lubbock and Albuquerque and El Paso this week. Real important to how I'm able to practice medicine here and how we're really able to function as a team at Advanced Heart and Vascular Center of New Mexico is really by working together to identify which doctors in the different areas can do higher levels of service and when it's appropriate to get you to those higher levels. A patient that we're quite close to the family is really fighting for their lives right now in one of those situations where we helped get them where they needed to go. And they've been through a lot, and their family's going through a lot. And again, if you are a praying person, I'm going to ask you to pray for healing for everyone that's suffering. And there's a lot of different ways to suffer, obviously, and we talk about that a lot of times. Sometimes the healing for your suffering is not necessarily what this physician wants the resolution to be. Meaning that I do truly give it to God and I trust His guidance and judgment. I may not always understand outcomes, but I believe in Him. But my role in God's plan is to really help facilitate cardiovascular health to the very best of my ability in rural areas. And I truly believe that's my calling. And that's why I live 2,000 miles from my family. That's why I work 100 hours a week. That's why I took call for 30 days out of 30 for years on end. Because, and again, I'm not a martyr. I'm not somebody that does something. I'm not here throwing in your face. I don't want you to feel sorry for me, none of those things. I want you to understand who I am. I have a passion for providing top-level cardiovascular care in our rural area and improving the overall infrastructure of our community from a healthcare standpoint. And I have been blessed to have and take opportunities with my partners to really help do that. And I'm really ready to continue taking it to the next level. So what I want people to think about and get involved in when we have these community meetings, when you do surveys, when you have an opportunity, I see a lot of articles in the current Argus, and I see people talking about all the different plans for healthcare in Eddy County. And I'm excited that we're even talking about it. Because there's a lot of other industries and necessities in our communities that I feel like are, often get more discussion and attention. It's not a competition, again, they're all important. But to see healthcare kind of come to the forefront of people's minds, like, hey, what we've got is good, but it's probably not adequate for what we really need. And again, healthcare in rural America, healthcare in America is in crisis. Healthcare in rural America is ratchet up the level of how much crisis it's really in, because it's in a big crisis. And our area is no stranger to that. None of us have all the solutions. But if we partner together, we keep the common good of our community in mind, and we really let that guide how we navigate the next 5 to 10 years of the healthcare of Eddy County, We're going to get somewhere. And I can't wait to see it. That's it for this week. I'm back. It's going to be an exciting next 9 months of this year. We're going to go with some different series. I'm going to interview more people. I appreciate you watching my podcast. Again, catch me on TikTok. That's Lady Heart Doc for life. Catch us on Facebook. That's Advanced Heart and Vascular Center of New Mexico. And follow along with Danny Fletcher's New Mexico World as well. And we'll see you next week.